Hi, I'm going to share with you two of the documents that I use, and I'm going to evaluate their accessibilities. One of them is a Word document about graphing equations of a line, and the second one is a PowerPoint about probability. I actually found that my laptop has a narrator, like a screen reader on it, and so I used it on my Word document to see the order in which it would read through this table. And so just look and listen as I go through it.
Image. Slope-intercept form y equals -1/2x. 4 selected. Image. Standard form -2x plus 4y equals -12 selected.
So as you can see, as I was going through using the narrator, it skipped over some of my text that I had included in my table. It even skipped over the title of the worksheet. And when I got to the graph, it just said image. So things I need to fix with this worksheet would include definitely changing the way I'm asking the students to complete it. So instead of just saying image, I would have to press Alt Text to show that it's a coordinate plane, and I'm asking them to draw an equation of the line y equals -2x plus 3 using a t-table of values. I also see that I must have simply used the symbols to represent -1/2x minus 4 and not even the equation editor that Word provides, because that's exactly how it read. It read -1/2x minus 4, which is not very good when you're talking about using the proper math language. I see that the title of my worksheet is kind of distracting. I would definitely want to clean that up and use a nicer font. I have good contrast. I am using black and white, but then I also might want to include a little color to help other kiddos be able to stay focused with following the worksheet. To totally make it accessible to all learners, I would change the format altogether. I would possibly create a multiple choice worksheet given the t-table and the equation, and then their choices can be 3 different graphs with the line already drawn, and then in each of them would be a description of what the equation or the line looks like. And so the kiddos that are visually impaired could still determine which line is drawn correctly. To evaluate my PowerPoint, I first started out in outline form to see if the way I have it typed out is the order in which it's going to be presented on the slides. And the slides I used did come directly from PowerPoint, so that it would, again, keep building on top of each other and not skip all over the place. And I noticed that as I went to the slideshow itself, that I used a lot of transitions that could be very distracting to students with learning disabilities, and the images didn't have any description with them. And so I definitely need to create slides that are clean and free of distractions for learners that have attention deficit disorders. And then I think I use good color. I just want to be very careful with all the images and the way the transitions are. And so as I was going through the slides, I noticed that when it came time to reading this particular image, it was not going to come across to a visually impaired student the way I wanted it presented. I would need to describe to the the kiddos that it's a continuum from left to right, starting with 0% all the way up to 100%, and then describing each piece along the way so that they can visualize in their mind what it looks like to go from an impossible probability all the way up to 100%. And then another thing I saw that would need fixed would be how to write probability. I'm afraid that if a reader was being used, when it came time to the way probability should be written, it could read something like P parenthesis event equals number of ways event can occur, and then just go on to the next one, and it would be totally lost that it's supposed to be read the probability of said event is going to be a fraction that describes a number of ways an event can occur over the total number of outcomes. So again, I would definitely need some software that is going to help me write math in my PowerPoints, because it's saying that math is not very accessible in PowerPoints. I don't have any links in this PowerPoint, but I can see how important it is to describe what the link is going to be versus just simply using a URL, so that visually impaired students could hear the description about what they're going to click on. Again, I don't have any tables, but I can see how making sure that each table is clearly labeled with headings and that you point out certain informational items using a bulleted list. So I was very thankful for this exercise. I can clearly see how much, when designing worksheets and websites and PowerPoints, how important it is to take into consideration all learners. And if I decide to create an online course, I definitely need to tweak a lot of the stuff I already have made.